Oh man. All right. I think we are live. Let me close this out. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I'm not peeking. Peeking.
Johnny. Both memes every day.
He said smoke memes. Every day.
Yup. Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Close some stuff so that I'm not distracted while trying to run a show.
Yup. Like I'm already consuming memes, and I'm like, let me put these away. Years gonna be yelling at my kids like, put the memes away.
Put the memes away. Put the cookie down. Cookies are for closers.
Cookies are sometimes food.
Yeah, let's see. How's everybody doing out there? We are live on 3 platforms, and it is glorious. We have been having so many issues, and for it to no longer be a problem is I don't think you know how happy that makes me. So if you are out on Facebook, you see we got Jerry back. There we go. All right. Are we ready to roost this turkey?
We are hosting what's up.
Let's do the thing.
Let's do the thing. Let's do the thing. That means
Look
Kenneth needs to do a thing. I've got to say words right now. Y'all gotta be ready for me to say words right now.
Words?
In a world
What?
where...
Wait, we don't have words here.
Yes, we do. Come on now.
Dadgummer!
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This week on State of the Nerd Union, we talk about the announcements. The announcements. And I'm going to mute Jerry's typing. So, no, you're good. Hey, Jerry shared the stream. Yeah. And we got our little zombie run going at the top. Look at it. Look at it. Let's see. Try this one more time. We're good. This week on State of the Nerd Union, we talk about the announcements that came out of the Tokyo Game Show, some superhero TV cancellations, and rumors, along with the internet sensation Among Us and the impact it's having on our meme culture. Spoiler alert, it's an amazing impact. It's pretty sus. Plus, we'll share the ridiculous lengths our Nerd Union staff went into to pre-order a PS5 and Xbox Series X. When we're gonna get them, who knows? But all of that starts right now. Bum, 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 bum. All right. So, get a quick look at the team. I'm gonna do some intros here. But real quick, thank you all for joining the State of Nerd Union. We're getting more and more high tech. So we've been doing good on Facebook and Twitch. Then we had to switch from my channel onto the official Nerd Union channel. Then we lost Facebook in that switch. But we should now be talking to you on 3 different platforms. So hello to everyone that is on YouTube. Hello everyone on Facebook. And hello to everyone on Twitch. So we're getting it together. I promise. Even this template's gonna change and update and get better. But I said we're gonna do some introductions. So again, I'm Kenneth Commander Ship. I'm the producer for the show, and then over time, these next wonderful gentlemen will be becoming more like co-hosts together, and I'll just be a little corner. I'll just be a little corner and the little producer, a little box. The voice inside your head. I'll just be a little box off to the side here in the future. For the last couple of weeks, I've been joined by my co-host, Jerry Maynard. Jerry, how have you been doing?
And husbanding and youth ministering and trying to figure out how I can be a better cook. I've spent so much time cooking.
Yeah, that's what's up, though. That's what's up.
Yeah. So much good food.
So much
and
good food.
Some bad one in there too. But
Some bad food.
That's how we learn.
Hey, I mean, if you're not messing something up, how do you know if you're actually cooking?
That's probably fair.
Yeah, don't go off my advice. That was a terrible idea. Let's see. Hey, Tom DeGrow, my co-host on Commander Ship Shows, like the stream. Thank you, Tom. Good to see you.
We appreciate you.
Yeah. I am super excited to welcome our newest co-host onto State and Nerd Union, bringing a lot of experience in the gaming world. Actually, we haven't gotten. I don't think we've gotten the game yet. Maybe at Lindy Focus for like a 2 seconds. But I'm welcome Steve Fox to the team, to Nerd Union family, joining us digitally, but hailing from Philly. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. What's up, everybody? My name is Steve Fox, destroyer of worlds, savior of none. Like I usually do. Kenneth bumped into me and he was like, "Yo, you want to be on a close approximation of TV?" And I was like, "That sounds acceptable. I'm in."
I like it.
A close approximation of TV. Yeah.
I mean, it's close.
Yeah. I'll take
I'm
that.
on a screen.
There's a .tv in there.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like TV on some of these screens. It's close.
There is a .tv. Yeah, I cannot argue with that. It's accurate.
That's true.
Oh boy.
There's TV in there. Mom, get the camera.
Stick this on the fridge.
Yup. My baby's on TV. Kinda.
My baby. Let's see. All right, let's get the whole team back on view. Yes. All right. So, folks, I made some space for our little zombie as it runs across the screen. So if you haven't liked the stream, go ahead and do that for us. And even if, the zombie will only be for the Twitch users if I coded that correctly. So I don't know if it's going to see if people did that on Facebook or not. But, you can like the stream. And if you haven't followed the stream, definitely help us out there. So if you follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, it helps us get seen and get past the algorithms that want you to pay buku's amount of money to make an impact. So, yeah. All right. So let's talk it up. Talk it up.
I guess that's singing it up.
Talk it up. We got a trio of black folks and a trio of singers, or like people that have had some music background.
Gonna get wild.
Yeah, the internet does not know what's about to be unleashed.
Three-part harmony.
Oh, we need to do that. Figure out some like nerd theme to sing or something like that and do 3-part harmony on it. That'd be dope.
Yeah.
So that's us. I saw that motherfucker bent.
Yeah.
In electrical.
You join it.
Oh, geez.
All right,
Folks.
folks.
I 10 times.
I was in electrical.
Sorry.
Folks, if you've been playing the Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC, we're getting another Nintendo Direct in the morning and an update on the Crown Tundra at the wee mornings, 6 a.m. Pacific. So if you're in Central Time like me, that's 8 p.m. Steve's out in Eastern, so it's 9 a.m. And Jerry, you wanna talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So we don't actually know anything about what's going to be in there other than it's going to be about the expansion pass, which is weird for them to say, though. And that tips me off to a couple things. Normally, they'd be like, hey, we're going to do some more stuff on the Isle of Armor, or we're going to tell you more about the Crown Tundra. But they said the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass, which would lend credence to a rumor that exists right now, saying that there's going to be a second expansion pass featuring 2 more areas. And we don't really know what the exact title of those areas are going to be. I think one of them has to do with the scepter, and then there's another one that, I don't know, for some reason I'm remembering fire. I don't know why. But so that lends credence to the idea that there probably is going to be a second expansion pass, which would help calm down all the people who are angry about the national decks not being included in the game, which we're going to be pretty doggone close with the Crown Tundra anyways. But we can also probably expect some more news on the Crown Tundra when the release date's actually going to be, especially since we're officially in fall now. If we're really lucky, they'll just shadow drop it, which would be awesome, but because I really want to play it. But if not, I can play some other games this weekend too, because I guess that works. But yeah, so I'm excited about it in the morning. I've been looking forward to some Pokemon news for the near future for a hot minute now. I'm secretly hoping that there will be also be a Pokemon for a Smash Brothers reveal for a DLC character. I would love to see like Sirfetch'd join the cast or something crazy like that. Be able to fight as a sword duck.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's as much as we know right now, though. But we'll definitely have some more coverage for you guys about that as soon as we find out more on it.
Yeah. Sounds good. I'm not even gonna say anything because I have not started. I haven't even started Isles, so.
I don't know nothing about Pokemon anymore. It's like I haven't played since Gold and Silver, and most people probably like, oh yeah, then the new Gold. No, it's the first Gold and Silver.
Yeah, the fact that you didn't say Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I was like, yeah,
exactly. Sword and Shield is basically Godzilla Pokemon.
I mean, yeah, I know about it a lot, and I've watched a bunch of people, but I just haven't sat down to play it myself.
Yeah, that's fair.
All these MMOs coming out, it's just
There's so many.
You gotta pour your time into something.
That's true. That's true.
Gotta pour your time. Pour your time. All right. Well, going back to my neck of the woods, folks, we have a sad announcement for Supergirl. So if you were a lover of the Supergirl franchise that originally had started on CBS Paramount and moved over to the CW, it got the can. And given all the production issues and things that are going on, and all the superhero shows that got green lighted in the last couple of years, it's not surprising that anything that was performing weekly was on the chopping block. So, yeah. To the crew, any thoughts on? Did anybody else get to watch it?
I watched a little bit of it. It became okay. So at first, the show came across really just like in your face, but not in a good way. Like they were trying too hard to send their message, which was bad because honestly, the cast of that show and all the characters in that show do a good enough job on their own, making the point just as they are. It's like the show didn't know how to like handle what they were trying to say. But once they gave them some room to branch the characters out and grow the characters, it became phenomenal. Lex Luthor in that show is like the greatest Lex Luthor I've ever seen. He's so evil and so despicable. I hate him. But he fits it so perfectly.
I watched it a little bit because of the Flash crossover episodes, and I'm like, hold up, what's this about? The first time I did that, I was watching Arrow, and I was like, hold up, what's this about? And I'm like, never mind, I don't like this. But then I watched a little bit of Supergirl, and I couldn't keep up with it because I had a whole bunch of stuff coming on at the time. But I did like it. Not as much as The Flash, as I was able to keep up with The Flash up until I stopped caring about it. But I did like it, so it's a little disappointing to hear that it's not going to keep going because I do want to go back to it and kind of catch up on all the stuff that I had missed. But you know, every show's got to end eventually. Yeah. Not all, ceremoniously.
Yeah, I had watched it when it was on CBS. I liked it a lot more when it was on CBS because I think the CW superhero, like after the third season, and that's like usually about where I don't want to say they all jumped the shark. That's not fair. It's just they get too ensemble focused, and it's like they lose the they lose the focus of the main character. So you notice it in Flash to a degree, and I only made it. Well, sorry. To be fair, I did a season of the Flash, and I was like, nope, I'm not. And it's not that the first season of Flash is bad by any means. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it happened as I was watching Arrow, and saw what was happening in Arrow in season 3, and I was like, nope, I'm not gonna buckle up for more of this because I feel like I know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, they have a bad habit of doing that.
Yeah, it's
right about all the characters. It's like, what about that background of that episode in season 2? Remember episode 2? You remember that guy? Let's do a whole episode on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And sometimes that works, but not always.
yeah, I feel like it depends a lot on how the show itself is already structured. Because sometimes you can do an episode on, like, to use an example, it's not an example, like doing an episode on the cabbage guy of like from Avatar, like what's that cabbage
man?
Before his cabbages get smashed all the time. Like, never explored that. So they could probably pull that off, but not everybody else could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, or like I was gonna say something like that, or something like how My Hero Academia, like every time they introduce a character, they might introduce a side character, but then they do some really good development of making sure that that doesn't feel forced and it becomes gradually. Whereas the CW shows would just be like, here's this new character, they're the most important person now.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Draco Malfoy.
That's a good example. My Hero Academia does a good job of that, and some other media are kind of just like, yeah, this dude that you've never heard of, now they're real important.
Yeah.
One thing I will say though, the current slate right now, we know Batwoman will come back, but right now, as far as last time I checked, they had not recast the role yet, and so they basically lost their women like cadre right now. Like they did have different supporting characters and superheroes within the universe of the show, and like definitely on like on Crisis and different things like that. But you're saying cancel Batwoman instead of Supergirl? What?
No, I'd agree with that. Like,
yeah.
Well, and this is my other beef with that, though.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, so this is my other beef with that. Like, they're canceling Supergirl right as they're doing the Superman show, and I know that that's two Kryptonian shows, but I don't really like how they're doing that. Like, I don't like that we're like, okay, we got a Superman now. We're just gonna push Supergirl to the side now that we have Clark Kent back. Like, that's rude. Yeah. Especially after all the work those people put in, and the cast of that show is phenomenal. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So you can have both.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you could have both. The optics are bad. That ain't a good look. Let's see. Well, we're gonna move on from Supergirl, and actually, it would be kind of cool if they would pull up if someone else would pick it up. But I know it feels like properties are getting more closed within the networks. Like you're losing the Netflix Marvel shows, and then only having the Marvel shows on Disney Plus. So, all right, Left 4 Dead lovers, the promised day has come. Hitting Steam this past Thursday comes The Last Stand, a new huge community-powered update for Left 4 Dead 2. It's going to bring a lot of new survival maps, an extension to the campaign, and a whole lot of major and minor improvements to bring new content to your old favorite. Steve, you want to talk on Left 4 Dead 2?
Yeah. So, probably like most people, I'm bumbling about Steam, earlier last week, and I see a Left 4 Dead update. Never, after, 2010, did I expect to see another update for Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah.
But the new expansion, it's community-driven. They've been working on it for a real long time. I don't know how long, but it's been a long time coming. I think it adds like 26 new survival maps, an extension to the Last Stand campaign. If you remember from back when, or I guess in current build or previous build, I think Last Stand was just like the survival mode and just kill as many zombies and survive as many waves as you can. Now, it's not impossible to get out of, but it is really hard. There's some survival modes. I think there's a versus survival mode now. And then it comes with like a bunch of like major and minor quality of life improvements, a whole bunch of bug fixes, some pull-ins from Left 4 Dead 1 in terms of like character models, and I think there's some new enemies. I can't recall what they're called on the top of my head, but I'm in the middle of rounding up my friends and be like, hey, you remember Left 4 Dead 2? Like, yeah, well, there's a new update. Let's go play. And they're like, what? Everybody's kind of still in disbelief, but
very cool. I'm very tickled that we got an update. I mean, it's not as mystical, or probably not going to happen compared to like Half-Life 3 or Episode 3. You take your pick. Like I've given up on Half-Life. Not that I had any hope for Left 4 Dead to get anything new, but it's like, oh, well, this is awesome, and yes, I will take this. I am.
Thank you.
For sure. All right. We got one last. Before we get to our main topics, we got one more bit of news blurb. Nick Fury. According to multiple sources at Variety.com, Samuel Jackson will be returning to his Nick Fury role in a new series for Disney+. Kyle Bradstreet, he previously worked on Mr. Robot with old Sam Ismail, who's doing the Battlestar remake on Peacock. He's attached to write and produce. Now, technically, Disney, Samuel, and Bradstreet have not confirmed this, but Variety's gotten quite a few sources on it, so just wait and see. All right. To the panel, what do we think about a new Nick Fury series?
I'm excited, mostly because I just like watching Samuel L. Jackson do anything. No, I'm really excited because this really could set up for like a lot of cool things, because Nick Fury is so shady behind the scenes that we don't really know what he knows and what he's been dealing with. So it'll be really cool to like see plot threads get set up in the midst of the show. And it would also be cool just to see like old Nick Fury like being awesome.
Yeah,
assuming it's about old Nick Fury.
It's true.
Definitely have to agree. It's like every kind of interpretation of Nick Fury has their own backstory, and they're all really interesting. So, like, being able to expound upon that, I think is going to be like just super fun to see. I don't feel like they could possibly mess it up. Because how could you? But at the same time, I feel like people might have kind of like the Star Wars problem, where you have such grand expectations that like no one could possibly fulfill them. So I'm a little bit wary of perception of like, every person on the planet isn't watching this show, let's cancel it. And even if it's really good, the upstairs folks still want their money at the end of the day. So hopefully, it's received very well. The cast is allowed to flourish and the show is allowed to develop, and we get some cool stories about MCU Nick Fury out of it.
Yeah. Some of it makes me wonder if it's going to be, like if we're getting a younger Nick Fury, is it set during, are they going to do like the age-up technology they did in Captain Marvel? Is it going to be after Far From Home? Like when we see him on the cruise ship and we're like, what? Or sorry, not the cruise ship, the scroll ship.
Yeah.
And so like, is we're going to explore that time period, post-snap. But yeah, Steve, that's a really good point, is that the new Disney Plus shows are so out there is not the right word, but it's like WandaVision, there's no expectation there. It's like, yeah, it could be a Division and Scarlet Witch typical relationship that we're used to seeing, but as far as that shows a concept, we have nothing to reference it on. Same thing with Loki, Hawkeye, and to some degree Cap and Winter Soldier, although I guess if that had been actual like Chris Evans Cap, then we might have been like, all right, it's gotta be as good as the movie, and so on and so forth. But with it being with it being Falcon, kind of takes a little bit off. But Nick Fury, it's Nick Fury.
Yeah.
They're just gonna throw us a total curveball. It's gonna be like, they're all gonna be in a new show called Shield Babies. It's all the Shield agents hanging out.
Avengers.
An I Love Lucy clone.
Oh gosh.
Cap and Falcon's just gonna be more a regular show, but with Cap and Falcon.
Captain Falcon. I'm gonna need him to punch people in that show, like a lot, dramatically.
Yep. Yeah, Cap grabs Falcon, he swirls him around, throws him across like the battlefield, he punches somebody.
Wow.
Falcon, punch!
I love having you both on this show. This is great. This is amazing. Y'all are missing out on everyone else is not here, missing out on internet gold. All right. Cool. Before we get to the main topic, we had a good night Saturday on our Prometheus watch party. So definitely be on the lookout for things when we drop them on the Nerd Union page for whenever we do the Commander's Log, which is me and some of the other Nerd Union staff just talking about a movie that we love. We had like a little pre-discussion and a post-movie discussion. We had such a good time. It ended up going to like 30 minutes after, like it was after midnight. So the movie ended at like 10:20, something like that. And we like, I gave like an official time we could stop talking, but everyone kept talking. So it's really, really good group. So thank you for everyone who joined us for that. And you'll see our Patreon link for that. So we definitely love people to help support us on the Patreon to make that work, for the pre-work that goes into, because hey, you might get to walk into a watch party, but there's work that happens to get ready for that show, or make sure, or not show, but make sure that discussion happens, so definitely check those links out. All right, moving on to some things that happened throughout the week and last weekend. Anyone that follows me on Facebook might knows that I'm a little enamored by a little game that features some familiar dynamics from games you might have played, like Mafia or Werewolf, and it's taken me and the internet by storm. If you're if you're unfamiliar with being a suspect, you'll quickly learn what it means to be sus and jettisoned out the nearest airlock in your first game of Among Us from developer Innersoft. So let's check up the panel. Who's played the game?
This guy.
Of course.
Yeah, everyone here's played it.
There's a game to be had that involves lying to your friends in a non-morally compromising fashion. I'm gonna be there.
Yeah. And then let's go out to our studio audience, our internet audience. Do we have anyone else that's played the game? So you can drop us a comment. We'd just like to hear your thoughts. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you frustrated?
Are you also sus?
Are you also sus? All right. While folks are collecting their thoughts and posting, I almost started preaching about this game and I hadn't played it yet. Because the memes came across first, and I was just I got so many people were sending me things in private message about sus, and it had gotten used in language so quickly that I was like, this is hilarious. This is amazing. And I'm like, wait, there's a game? There's a game attached to this?
This is real.
So I've spent the past week and this weekend getting into it, and it's a blast. And then just now there's things that seems to have been a multiplication, an explosion of the memes. There were like a couple out there before Friday, and over the weekend, I kid you not, like my phone has just been filled up with photos, And I'm thinking of a couple I want to make. I'm thinking of a couple I want to make, some movie reference, some sus movie moments,
Yeah, I think that's been like half my text messages to you lately, actually. It's just Among Us memes.
It's been mostly me just like stealing them. It's like, for whatever reason, this friend group has a specific Discord for Among Us memes. Don't mind if I steal some, contribute a few over here.
Yeah.
But no, this game is great. It's free. It's so much fun, especially if you like have a good group of people that you can play it with. Like, what is it? I've been talking with you about it, but I've been playing with like the teenagers at my church, and like it is so funny seeing the crazy ways that people try to get away with crap in that game, and like the out there explanations they have for stuff, and then the way people believe it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The memes that show people bloodied and like, no, they look sus. I'm like, that's pretty accurate. You're like,
it's like my friends are hyper meta, so they're like, if more than 2 people are dead by the first time we hit the button, I know it's this person because they kill on cooldown immediately.
Exactly. You start learning like people's behaviors and stuff like that.
Yep. It's like, I saw this person standing. He was just standing there menacingly, not doing anything that's extra sus, and everybody's like, yeah, I buy that. And he's like, I was doing my task. Vote him out. So-and-so was not an imposter. It's like, well, I guess we're voting you out then.
It was you.
It was you.
But yeah, even like all the dad groups that I'm in, like they like have been going crazy with this thing lately. Somebody posted like a statistic earlier that was like the number of times or percentages that each color is the imposter. Like, it has nothing to do with the game.
It doesn't. my friends are already making like spreadsheets of like, send me your stats now. I need to quantitatively know who is shit and who is good. I'm just like, come on, man. I'm out here just trying to play third imposter sometimes, just for fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's another interesting aspect of that game, though, is that you can have multiple imposters. Mm-hmm. So it's like you'll have like 8 people playing, and you'll have 2 imposters. So like people can agree with each other on stuff, and you don't know if it's like, okay, that's proof, or it's like they're both the imposter and they're just playing you.
Yeah.
Yep. You never know. There could be there's 2 imposters, and it's like, oh well, no. Like the meta is if there's 2 imposters and there's 5 of us, they can just double kill us, but that hasn't happened, so we're still good. And it's like. As I'm sitting there as the one imposter, I'm like, you know what? I don't need y'all. You gonna die next. You making too much sense. You out of here next.
That was logical. Nope.
So I also just want to talk about the spacesuits and how like I think there's something also to be said about like because it's so simple, like our brain can put ourselves in this like in that character like very quickly. Like it's just very easy to be like, oh yeah, I like, and the jokes just roll off because you're like, yeah, I can see myself as that person that's getting screwed over, you know. Even if you hadn't played, I think that's why people that hadn't played it yet have picked onto it so quickly. Is that they're like, I have no idea what that game is, but something about those little characters, like I can attach myself to it super quick.
Yeah, I think the thing that makes it easy is that like it is actually exactly what you see is what you get. Like there's like the image, the meme is there's a person with half a body and a bone sticking out of it, and somebody's next to them, and it's somebody in the foreground who sees it, and it's like, okay, I understand what's going on here. That orange dude, ate that person's whole body, like half their body. I get it. So it's like you see like 2 memes, and like you're like, okay, I understand what's going on here, and now I basically know how to play 20% of the game.
You're not wrong.
Also, just sus. Like, I
wonder how that started.
It's just a fun word to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. It's not. It didn't come because of this. Like, it wasn't invented after this. Like, people have been shortening words forever. But the current uptick and the popularity of it, like, you check Google word search and see what's the most popular words right now. Sus is like, I think in the top 5 right now. That's how.
Yeah, the memification comes through real strong.
So high. So yeah, definitely we're probably gonna get some games together with the Nerd Union staff. We might share those on Twitch. Jerry's already been scheming how to get that to happen. So
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll be down for that. That's gonna be hilarious.
Nice.
All right, we were teasing the Tokyo Game Show. So we're really gonna let Jerry get loose and talk all about all the announcements that happened at the Tokyo Game Show. Yeah,
we're gonna get kind of loose in this. There's so much information that came out of that. It's like hard to take all of it in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so in the midst of the Tokyo Game Show, so for those who don't know, Tokyo Game Show is like the big Japanese game event of the year. So if you're like me and Kenny and maybe even Steven, I don't know what kind of games you play yet, but like this is pretty exciting for us. This is where we find out about all these crazy RPGs that we get, like Square Enix's stuff, Capcom's and Bandai Namco and all that. Like they have a lot of their content that they get announced there. So think about where to start, man. There's so much information. All right, so first of all, we'll start with a couple minor not Japanese games that got announced there. So, or not announced, but more information came out of it. We found out that we'll be getting more stuff from Resident Evil's universe. We got to see some Resident Evil Village /8 gameplay revealed, and just got to see a little bit about how that game's going to play together, which I'm not really a Resident Evil player, so I'm not really super excited about that, but I know that there's a lot of people who love this game. Got a video game playing for all of that right now.
Yeah.
But
I'm hyped. I'm always hyped for more Resident Evil, unless it's a movie.
How are you feeling about the new game? Before we get to the movie, how are you feeling about that?
I mean, I'm always excited for Resident Evil stuff. I tend to prefer the more horror-focused stuff of Resident Evil. So when they kind of went the route of like, let's be in the daylight, and it's not really zombies, but it's another kind of virus. Oh, it's like, man. The darker stuff I love. But I've grown a taste for the way that they like to present the newer stuff. They kind of go for more of like a thriller, more less than a horror, which still marketable. And then there's always like the other stuff like Dead Space or whatever. If I want to be a little baby and run around in the darkness and try not to cry a lot.
Yeah, if you just want some suffering in there. But speaking of movie, like you mentioned, we're gonna get another Resident Evil movie, but not like you think. I guess not a movie; it's a show. Netflix is coming out with a show called Resident Evil: Infinite Darkness, but it's gonna be a CGI show, which I'm not judging the CGI aspect of it. It could be cool. It's kind of gonna be like, I guess, watching a video game at this point, but if it's done well, it could be really interesting. It's gonna star the classic characters Claire Redfield and Leon Kennedy. I'm assuming it's going to take off Resident Evil's 2 storyline, maybe, but we don't really know. It could just be them in a completely different alternate universe storyline. We got to see a trailer of that, and it honestly looks really interesting. Like, I'm kind of excited about it.
I mean, they've been doing some cool stuff with. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
But they've been doing some cool stuff with, like the recent. I guess it's not enough to call it a wave. But the recent beginnings of a wave of video games into like CGI or anime or whatever, like was it Castlevania came out? I guess maybe that was like a year and a half ago now. It's been a while, but Castlevania came out, and at first people were kind of like, how's this going to be? In my opinion, I think it's fantastic. I love the Castlevania IP. I thought it was great. I think, anytime you have somebody fresh coming to Resident Evil and you stop letting whoever is directing the movies keep directing the movies that have nothing to do with zombies, you got a chance for, something fresh and something cool to come out of it. So if somebody new is taking the helm and spearheading some new ideas or trying to, create a engaging experience in a similar Resident Evil fashion, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see a little bit more about what's going to come out from that. But it looks interesting to start off, and we're excited about that. The bigger things that we found out about from Tokyo Game Show, we got to see some more. That's funny. Sorry, I'm laughing at the show notes because it says new Breath of the Wild gameplay, but it's not Breath of the Wild. It's Age of Calamity for Hyrule Warriors, which is a prequel to Breath of the Wild. And if you weren't here a couple weeks ago when we found out about that from Nintendo, Kenny and I had lost our minds. We were so excited about this for good reason, because
we're gonna be so sad. We're be so sad watching it.
It's just so sad. So Breath of the Wild is one of the greatest games I've ever played, especially in RPGs. But
grown since I last saw you.
It's just we're gonna get the storyline that has to. Oh no! Sorry, my computer just told me to disconnected everything.
I would like to be prepared.
But we're going to get the storyline that's about the Calamity event itself that happened 100 years before Breath of the Wild. And for anybody who's played Halo Reach, you're going to have a bad time. This is not going to end well. But we're here for it, and I'm super stoked about it. But we got to see some of the gameplay, and it looks like a ton of fun, which every single ounce of excitement of this game that we're getting as we get more and more gameplays and trailers is matched by an equal and greater amount of stress about how much hurt is about to hit us. I'm really excited about it. The attack moves and the way that you're going to get to play as the different heroes in the game is going to be really exciting. My gosh, they all have such different playstyles, and I'm really stoked about that. I'm really excited to see what motivations these characters had to joining Link on his adventure, how things were working out, because it looks like things are working out really good for them starting off, and then it just completely goes to shit. I'm very stoked about it. But all the attacks and the moves that the characters have seem completely over the top. They all seem like the playstyles of each character are really well thought through, like they fit each of the characters, not only in their weapon set, but their personalities as well. And I really think that's a really good, unique touch that they've taken with it. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the Falcons. Rivali, he has an attack where he does the tornado, it jumps up in the air and shoots a bunch of arrows and just makes everything explode. But he does it with such swagger that fits his character, perfectly. And I like seeing those small touches and how they not only have done that in the storyline, but also in the gameplay. But I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna shut up for a minute and let you guys talk about it a little bit and see how you feel because I'm geeking out too much.
Never too much.
Not too much.
So
This is so
as
good.
I stated when it came out, I am a huge Dynasty Warriors fan, and I love these twists that have been put into it. So I have all the Dynasty Warriors Gundams, Hyrule Warriors, Fire Emblem Warriors. Like sign me up. I love it. There is something that can, and this is a positive for this version of Hyrule Warriors. And I'm not saying that the other version didn't change the styles well across the characters, but it is that, like, when you base off a Dynasty Warriors template, are there strengths and traits to changing characters? Yes, I'm not saying there isn't, but sometimes even when you're hitting the same two buttons over the course of a game, you might kind of get a little bit of a feeling like, was there really that much of a difference? And the gameplay for this just looks like they have really thought about how that team works together and that everyone will play differently. So that's just the thing that immediately comes to my eyes. I'm like, that, like, they just look vastly different. This doesn't feel like it's going to feel like I'm hitting the same button and effectively getting the same effect. And I'm hoping there will be some situations that require you to really, like, you're gonna have to switch teammates in order to accomplish some of the goals that happen here.
Yeah. That would fit the storyline of it, honestly, because each of them had different roles to play in the midst of that, and it was very important in the roles that they played.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm pretty stoked about that.
I'm not sure like exactly what I want from it, but similar to you, I also really enjoy Dynasty Warriors. Just from the perspective of like strolling up onto a battlefield and just like murking tons of people with a single strike. I'd like to see maybe like a little bit, not necessarily a whole bunch, but a little bit of like unit management strategy of like, oh, cool, we got to defend this point. All right, you 50 dudes go over that way. I'm gonna go over here by myself, and then we'll meet up in the middle, or something like that. I think would be neat to kind of add a little bit of extra tactics to it. Or if I don't know if you're swapping people out like mid play, or if you do it in like an options menu before you start a mission or whatever. But if you can send other characters off to a particular point because like, oh, they're roaming through the volcano area. You're the only person with flame resist other than me, so go do your thing.
Yeah. And having I'm trying to hard difficulty on Fire Emblem Warrior right now, and later in the show I'll get to talk about where I got to play that for hours on end. And but there was definitely, they had some kind of branching storylines in that kind of split your team off of like, I can only use this set of teammates on this encounter because they're on the timeline of events, they're not available to you so like you play this event, you only have these, play this event, you only have these. And yeah, there's like you could quick swap but on the fly. So like anywhere on the battlefield, if you want to switch to a different character, you could. And yeah, anyone that you weren't currently, whoever's body you weren't in, you could assign them to go to different spots. So it's been a while since I played Hyrule Warriors to know if they had that implemented in there, but definitely Fire Emblem had it there. So I'd have to imagine they'll do it to some degree for this new version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
true
amongst
management. Yes.
I personally am not necessarily the biggest Monster Hunter fan in the world, but I am signed up for this one. It looks really interesting. So for those of you who played Monster Hunter before, or those of you who haven't, I guess, the game itself is about obviously killing monsters, but it's you get equipment based off of what monsters you kill and whatnot. And I didn't like it at first because it always just seemed clunky to me, and I know there's an audience that enjoys that kind of gameplay and it's very strategic. I like to be able to move more, and this game hits that perfectly. There's so much more agility in this than any Monster Hunter that I've experienced previously. I'm very excited about that. I like the little companions that are going to come along with the game, the cat and the dog you can get. I'm pretty stoked about that. It's basically like, it looks like you're going to be playing Monster Hunter Spider-Man Edition, which sounds cheesy, but looks really fun.
I I haven't seen
important letter.
the new trailer for
It looks
for Rise,
like
although I've read about it.
We've got a rampage on our hands.
And I'm coming from Monster Hunter World, and looking at the videos and some of the screenshots, like Rise looks phenomenal. I haven't even gotten to the new, not even new anymore, DLC, Ice, whatever. Yeah, I haven't even gotten there yet, and I'm already excited for Rise. I'm like, I've already paid for the DLC. I haven't even played that. So maybe I'll just skip it. I'll wait for Rise to come out. Let's go to town.
Yeah, it's
Kenny, I thought you were really excited about it. How are you feeling
last
about this?
calamity. That monster is known as Magnum's Hollow.
This is for my fellow hunters!
The gameplay looks completely different. It looks really.
Yeah.
It looks
Shall we
really
go?
Fresh.
Yeah, it looks fresh. It looks fluid and smooth. I'm gonna get it. I'm really honestly pretty excited about it. I've never felt that way about a Monster Hunter game before, so I'm excited about that.
And that one's going to be out March 26th, 2021. And I think folks that are watching us can see that on the. Yeah, it just went back on screen again. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a reasonable time frame. We got some more announcements of some DLC coming to the Smash Brothers of animes. So for those of you who haven't heard of the Jump network of anime, it's basically this conglomeration of anime that exists. That's this one company produces all these various animes, such as like Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball Z, Hunter x Hunter. But there's some older games that are going into this as well. And one of those games is one of those animes, Yu Yu Hakusho. And this game is obviously not new, but they're coming out with new DLC for it, which is going to have Hiei in there. And for those of you who don't know, Hiei is this short little demon man who can do this thing called a black dragon or darkness flame dragon, and it's amazing. Like, Yu Yu Hakusho is one of the best animes I've ever seen, and to have Hiei be in this game, I am super stoked about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was really disappointed that he wasn't in the launch version, honestly, or most of the other characters from Yu Yu Hakusho, because they're all great. But it's good to see him getting some recognition, because he's just a complete badass, and it's going to be interesting seeing how he plays versus some of the other characters in that game. But I'm glad that they're adding him.
Yeah. Nice.
I don't know if anybody else had thoughts on that, sorry. So we're also going to get we're getting a new collection of Saga, which has a complicated history, to say the least. So it's essentially the original Final Fantasy games in a collection, but there's this weird thing where like the Final Fantasy games released in Japan with one name, and then they came over to the US, and then they had a different name, and things like got crossed over, and it's really confusing. But long story short, they released a trailer for what's going to be called the Collection of Saga Final Fantasy Legend. And Final Fantasy Legend was a game that was on the Super Nintendo, and it's really hard to find, honestly. But
yeah,
just Kenny can attest to that as a collector.
Yeah. Jesus.
Sorry, I think I hit a button. But
Yeah.
Don't worry, Kenny. You'll find it one day.
You know, when you see people get a sealed copy of Earthbound, you know, it's just, you know, like,
those
what?
are real?
I think it's fake, but I think they're trolling me on
I
it.
Earthbound. My mom bought it on a whim. I have a ton of classic dope SNES games based entirely off my mom. Like, yo, this box art's dope. I'm buying it. I got the whole box for Earthbound. I still got the collector's book. The scratch and sniff things on the back still stink.
You might have just killed Kenny.
I got the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. I got that one. Thomas the Tank Engine.
Thomas the Tank. All right, you lost me on Thomas.
I was about to say Kenny was about to have an aneurysm.
Oh, it's probably still coming.
Okay.
All right, keep going.
But yeah. All right, so we're going to be getting that game, and you can play the original Final Fantasy collection on there. I think it's going to have the first 3 on there, so for the fans of that, go check that out. It'll be really good. We got to see some more Cyberpunk gameplay.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk has been delayed so much over this past year, which is a good thing, though, because we're tired of game companies releasing games way too early when they aren't done. Yes, I'm still bitter about Final Fantasy 15. I refuse to download the extra stuff.
What? Do it.
That's no.
There's a whole list of stuff that you could have added. It's like Final Fantasy 15, Fallout 76. What is
Mass
it?
Effect
Destiny.
Andromeda.
No Man's Sky.
I mean, No Man's
That crap
Sky is
makes
like
me
a
so mad.
different game now.
Oh, it's an entirely different game now.
There's a whole redemption movie you could make about No Man's Sky. How it went from being garbage to good. Where when you're your lead spokesperson for every question that's asked, it's just like, yeah, we could put that in the game. Yeah. It's like you want infinite planets? Let's do it.
That is
Yeah,
totally how that happened. Good one. That's a good one too.
Y'all, if you haven't played Final Fantasy 14, it's free for the whole game and the first DLC. Go download it, spend a buttload of hours playing it, switch classes, do whatever you want. It's one of the greatest games I've ever played. I've said that twice today because 2 really good games have come up. But going back to Cyberpunk, which I hope is one of those games in the future, we got to see some more gameplay just to give people a better idea of what it's going to be like. I'm honestly I'm sold on it anyways because it just how much effort they're putting into making sure it's a good game. When I see a game company put this much quality control in there and they're willing to delay their stuff that much just to make sure that it comes out at a good product, I'm down.
Yeah.
So, how are you guys feeling about Cyberpunk?
I gotta have something to play on my PS5.
Yeah, because ain't nothing else gonna be there.
Yeah, people keep. Sorry, that's a jab. I'll save that for later. That's a jab. It just slipped out.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, similar to you, it's like I probably was sold like the moment I saw it. I'm like, this game looks fantastic. I don't care what it's about. I'm gonna buy it. Just tell me how much.
Yeah, it's got Keanu Reeves. We're good.
Yeah, it's like oh, you got Keanu Reeves, is it? And he could be regular Keanu Reeves. Like he's not like a special guy. It's just going. That's a Keanu Reeves simulator. But in 2020X, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm down.
And then the length of it. We were talking about that last week. And
oh yeah.
So I'm just really excited how long they're focused on the campaign of it. And so we already knew we were gonna have a ton of side stuff to do, but I like having a good campaign to just tear into, like sink my teeth into,
Yeah, so it'll have a good long campaign. It won't be as long as The Witcher 3, but we're okay with that.
It's fine.
So, yeah, it'll be fine.
It said it was like only like a couple hours shorter anyway, so it wasn't like it was like a 10-hour difference. It was like it was like barely.
Yeah, I think my first playthrough of The Witcher took me like 80 hours to finish. So that's more. I mean, $1 a minute. That's more than your money's worth. So.
Yeah, there you go. So some other things we found out about, some couple quick points. We found out that we're going to be getting a demo for Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. All right, so I'm definitely the resident Kingdom Hearts fan of Nerd Union.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Looks like it.
I tried, man.
I know. I understand. Trust me, I understand. I don't know what Melody of Memory is about, honestly. I've been trying to figure it out for a minute now, and I don't know. I'm getting off the train after Kingdom Hearts 3 because Kingdom Hearts 3's ending was just so wild. And yes, it did wrap up a lot of good plot points, but it left me with so many questions and so much rage and emotion that I don't know if I can do another one. But I think they are aware of what they have done to the human race in the midst of this. Yeah. So we found out that we're going to be getting a demo of Melody of Memory in mid-October, which might be enough to hook us suckers back in. But we don't know. I'm really confused because it looks like Guitar Hero Kingdom Hearts, but it also has like CGI scenes that are focused on Kairi, which is really important right now based on how Kingdom Hearts 3 ended. So I don't know. I'll get you more info once it comes out. I'm emotionally distraught right now, though. Still. So moving on from my emotional trauma, we also found out that we're going to be getting a Disgaea 6. For those who haven't played, I don't know actually how to pronounce that because I've never heard it pronounced. I've always read it.
I think it's Disgaea.
Okay, Disgaea. For those who don't know what Disgaea is, if you are a fan of Final Fantasy Tactics or Fire Emblem, you will like Disgaea. Disgaea is this real-time strategy turn-based thing that is it's really good. Like, it's a really good real-time strategy game, especially if you like to just do a lot of character grinding to like make them strong. It's really good. It's really wild and really insane as far as the story goes, like in a goofy way, but it's a lot of fun. Like I've never been bored playing a Disgaea game. Disgaea game. I've also never played it for more than like 2 hours at a time, but I'm never bored with it ever. So go online, check that out. Check out some gameplay of that. I might boot up another old Disgaea and stream it on the Nerd Union Network at some point or another, but they're a lot of fun, honestly.
Yeah, I just picked some up for my PS3. I think isn't 5 out on PS4? I think
5 is out on like everything, I think.
Okay, yeah. So I think I just I got 4. I'm trying to get the PS2 ones. That's what it is. So I got Hour of Darkness. I'm trying to get the other PS2 ones. So I think if I can get those, I'll have everything. And then so when 6 comes out. So I've gotten quite enamored with it. Yeah, I'm just like RPG, like old RPG junking so hard. I'm like
they'll make you laugh a lot, and you'll have a lot of fun playing them.
Yeah, if you like a game with a good grind, this guy is a fun one to pick up. Yeah. I haven't played it a whole lot because you can only grind so many long grindy games at once, but really fun, good experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the thing about this guy with their grind, it never feels obnoxious, and that's really important. Or at least I've never felt like it's that way.
Yeah.
I agree. Like there's a difference between like bad and boring grindy and like fun and engaging grindy. And this guy is a fun and engaging grind.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it as far as Tokyo Game Show news goes. That was a lot of good stuff for us, and we're pretty excited about that stuff. You'll probably hear about more from those games as we get more trailers or we get the chance to play some of that stuff, maybe via demos or copies of the game. Whatever happens, we're pretty stoked about it. So you can look forward to more information on all that in the future. But if there's anything that you guys are excited about from Tokyo Game Show that we may have missed or that we talked about and you want to talk more about, let us know in the comments. Looking back, Taryn was talking earlier about Among Us. All right, so if you're bad at being sus in Mafia, it's okay. I'm also bad at being sus in Mafia because I'm usually just a terrible liar, but I get away with it pretty well in Among Us. It's really simple to just make up a story and just blame other people, especially if you're funny about it.
Absolutely. The meta is if you're the imposter, bite someone, stand there, wait for them to report it, and the moment that you can speak, be like, yo, he self-reported. I saw him do it.
Yeah. Or you can just self-report and blame the other person.
There you go.
How could you?
It hasn't worked for me yet, but I'm going to keep trying.
Oh no, one of our Facebook people said that the video volume is too loud.
Yeah, I've been working on it since I heard that. So thank you, Joe.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe, for letting us know that. Joe Conley.
Appreciate it, man. That's my boy.
Yeah, it could be the initial volume. So yeah, we'll definitely. I've tried to adjust it as I can during the show, and it might be something we'll have to take because I don't have a good sense of what it sounds like when it hits the internet. I have a good idea of the monitor. I can hear our chat, but I don't always know how that's going to sound when it goes out the door. So, but yeah.
Yeah, we're still working out the tech aspects of this, but we hope y'all are having fun with it anyways.
Cool.
We are.
Our last topic, and I get to have a little bit of fun.
Gather round, children. It's story time with Kenneth Ship.
We've gone through some chaos this last week and a half, and I blame Sony. I really do. And you might be like, why do I blame Sony? Well, it's so 2020. It's such a cascade of pre-order nonsense. So a week ago.
Before you jump into the story, I forgot the PSO update.
Oh, yes. Snap.
My bad.
Pause, everybody. Here you go. Fantasy stuff.
Before we have story time.
For the folks who, I think this update is coming to Xbox as well. I'm not sure if it's on PS2. I play it on Steam. But for the folks who play Phantasy Star Online 2, big update is coming this Wednesday. Episode 5 is coming out. The max level cap is being raised to 90. There's a whole bunch of new items, a bunch of new quest types. I think it's 2 or 3 new quest types, a whole bunch of razzmatazz, and a whole bunch of new lore stuff. If you're like me and you just started playing it on Steam when it came, they finally, after 8 years, released it in the US. If you're like me, you're probably not even through episode 1 yet, but here comes episode 5 and a whole bunch of new stuff. So it's going to be really exciting. On top of that, I'm even more excited for the massive update coming either late this year or sometime next year, which includes a massive graphical update to bring the game kind of into modern specs, as well as some other stuff. But super looking forward to this this update on the 30th. If you're playing regularly, you've been getting your bonus, Tokyo tickets and all that stuff. If you pay to play, hold on to all that stuff and get that extra sweet EXP buff when the update comes out.
Very nice.
Yeah, but you were saying story time.
Sorry, you distracted me with Phantasy Star because
We are all Phantasy Star fanatics.
what's the last one I played? I think Universe might have been the last one I played.
That Universe
I have
was
that
so
still.
fun.
Yeah. I mean, I started out when it came on Dreamcast, so that was my. And I remember trying to play on the Dreamcast modem.
Oh. Woo! Woo!
Oh man, I just dated myself right there. Okay, and story time. PS5, Xbox pre-orders. We talked a week ago about how crazy the PS5 nonsense was, going early, and it's from what I've been able to suss out from friends.
Yeah.
And from Wario64's Twitter account, shout out to him because he has been doing so good at getting the scoops and details on when things have been. I'm going to quote him again in a moment. As far as we can tell, back what happened there was Walmart jumped the gun and it cascaded to everyone else. And we talked about review embargo and things like that we're used to, me and Jerry, as far as like you cannot talk about this until a certain time. But it really does seem like that is what's happened, and that's the only other. So just reconfirming what we were talking about a week ago is that it really just seems like one retailer jumped a gun. There wasn't any explicit language to not do it, so everyone did it, and kerfuffle. So many people woke up in the morning and did not get PS5s like they were hoping to, myself included. So I was really about to just assume that was not going to happen. In comes Wario64 for the win a day before GameStop would announce it, and we found out from subsequent tweets, he said GameStop's getting PS5 pre-orders, disc only, so you're not getting the digital ones. He's like, it's going to be Friday morning. There will be some online, but you'll be able to go some in-store as well. So I'm like, bet. Let me write that down. Gonna happen. Cool. All right, we're going to pause on PS5 for a moment because now we got to talk about me and Jerry's terrible Xbox experience because that happened after we did our show last week.
We had a bad experience.
Sad reacts only.
Yes.
So let me get it after the
chat. we woke up, had our Wheaties, I can't always say Wheaties. It was Lucky Charms. It was Lucky Charms for me.
Me too.
Nice, man.
I'm glad we're all, adults for whom, like, Lucky Charms doesn't even sell us ads anymore. Like, they don't even advertise on TV. And it's just like, we're just still buying their cereal.
Yeah. Just, I can get that now. And my mom can't tell me no.
No, it can tell us.
As I look over the 6 boxes of Lucky Charms on my shelf.
I vary it up a little bit. I got some, like, Crunch Berry. So I get the generic bag shit. Yep. I got, like, some
man stuff.
Yeah.
Admiral Crunch.
Admiral Crunch.
He is an admiral. His bars. He's got admiral bars, but they call him captain. So disrespectful. All right. All right. Anyway, me and Jerry, we woke up. We did what we were supposed to do. We were awake. We were on time, and I'll at least tell what's happening on my side. I should have had more tab. Well, heck, it wasn't even just having the tabs open, and I knew this, having done try to get tickets for like Star Wars and things when those go on, and trying to get the IMAX seats, is that there's bots you might be going against, people, and particularly in this case scalpers. So scalpers were running a lot of bots that were fighting us. And I wanted Best Buy points, so I'm like, I'm going to do it on Best Buy. I had Best Buy up, and 10 o'clock comes, 10:01 comes. I'm still refreshing on Best Buy. Best Buy does not open. I freaked
Oh, no.
I freaked the hell out. I go to Walmart real quick. I'm able to get it in my cart, but you know what the problem is? Because I didn't have the Walmart tab up, I'm not signed in. And then the time it takes me to sign in, they're sold out. It's gone. The one that was in my cart was taken out.
Yoink.
Me and Jerry then proceed to spend the next 40 minutes. Jerry's like on Target, trying to get into Target.
Yeah, I have like 5 tabs open at the time. I'm like,
I decide, okay, maybe I could still get in line somewhere physically. So I drive. I'm just like, I'm going to try the first Best Buy that's near my house. That was a waste of time because it didn't matter. Anybody that went in there had already gotten them. So those lines are taken care of. Jerry is still trying. Jerry calls me and it's like, I got one in the cart. I'm going to try to. Jerry's not able to get
Gone.
one in the cart. It's gone. All this time, the Best Buy site still has not opened up. I think Jerry's like going to have to stop because I think you've been there for about an hour. But you're like, I'm going to have to leave.
I got to go work.
So I get back to my computer. So it's been an hour and a half and Best Buy still has not opened. But my plan is like, everything else is selling out. Best Buy hasn't opened yet. So this is I'm just gonna have to sit here and spam the refresh on Best Buy because it's gonna be my only shot. For the next, so keeping track of time, this was 10 a.m. Central Time. We are now at about 11:30 a.m. Central Time. For the next hour and a half, it was me and my clicking finger on Best Buy, trying to just get it in the cart. And even once you got it in the cart, and everyone that's been through this knows what I'm talking about, even getting to the cart did not mean success because each process, each button click was a fight. You were literally trying to spam each button click. That's how terrible this was. I want, like, as much as I want to be mad at them, I also know there's just a hard to test this kind of surge. Like, it's just because it's just not something that's going to happen every year or every day. So like, why would you make sure that your site can handle millions of people all on it at the exact, like, I get it. And you also think, well, if there's only so many people that are going to be onto it, it's like, yeah, but then you're also fighting bots. So, I mean, I was mad at the time, but I also understand, like, it's a tough thing to, on the tech side of how to actually implement that well. Yeah.
Not a good morning.
No, not a good morning. Just luckily, I was able to get my Xbox. Jerry was not able to yet, but we're gonna keep working on that. So we're following updates. Yeah. So now to go back to, I said pause on the GameStop news because Wario64 hooked everyone up on the internet. It's like, hey, it's happening early. It's already new. I was like, all right, it's happening. So when Thursday came, I was like, yeah, I'm going to check the GameStop, see what the numbers are, because they weren't posting them online, just posting it at the stores, letting you know how many they had. My local one, or the one I was going to go to with that same Best Buy, was too busy of an area. I'm like, they might have more, but there's going to be more people going there. I'm not going to do that. That's a dumb idea. So I actually find there's a GameStop closer to my house, but it's not as frequented as much, and they have 8. I'm like, okay. So I go back home. There's a basketball game on. I'm like, I'm going to watch the basketball game. And when it gets done, I'm going to go check and just see if anyone's lined up. And if people are lined up, then I'm going to make the rough decision to, like, get my stuff together and go out there, you know. So sure enough, game ends. I get there at 11 p.m. and there's already people kind of hanging around the door like, oh, look at that number. Look at how many there's. I'm like, wow, I'm really going to have to, like, I was hoping to be able to go back, get a little bit of a nap, and then, like, come out in the middle of the night. Nope. So I was like, all right, I got my stuff here. I'm just going to rough it. I'm just going to rough it for 12 hours, people. This is 11 p.m. Stayed awake all night. And something that's also cool. This is the first time I've been first in a console line. I've done it twice, and I've been, like, the closest I've been is fourth. The closest I've been is the fourth in line. So this is my first time being first. So yeah, I was really excited. And got to talk to a lot of people, you know. And that's the thing about these lines is that you meet some cool. Like, if someone else is willing to stay out there with you, then now they might be a scalper, so they may not really care. There's a potential you'll get someone out there that's like, I'm just here for the money. It's like, okay, but usually you get some really cool gamers to talk with. So, like, there were some, like, Sony fanboys that just loved talking about Sony stuff, and we just had a really good time. So I had a total shout out to the folks that may be listening. If you were at that St. Louis store and you joined us on Facebook, definitely like this is a shout out to you to go and tag yourself in that photo that we put up there. I took a photo of the 8 people that were the 8 lucky individuals that got the pre-order of their PS5. So yeah, that's my story. And yeah, it also got cold.
That was the day that was like the day that it officially became fall, wasn't it?
Basically.
Like not like calendar wise, but the weather decided we're gonna be fall now.
Yeah. So I had a little jacket and blanket
It's like,
and stuff.
can we stay outside for 12 hours? Let's make it cold.
We're gonna make you earn this.
Like I'm glad it hadn't been raining like it had been a couple of days ago, and if it had been the hottest it had been a couple weeks ago also, I'm glad it wasn't that. But yeah, I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to actually get like jacket, like not like light. I'm gonna have to actually have like, like jacket, pants, socks, like no flip flop, gotta like put a blanket on, maybe. So yeah. And that's where I got all that gaming time in. If anyone else was online on Switch and was like, why is he still up? I played a lot of Fire Emblem Warriors. I got through a lot of the hard difficulty on that that night. So yeah. And then we met.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say I woke up and saw my phone that morning. I'm like, you did what?
Say what?
He's gonna get a PS5. No, we live in 2 different. I mean, I guess it could have worked, but like,
just run. He's like, I don't care how long it takes. I'll be there.
I can't run the same place. It's too far.
You show up at like 7:55. You're like,
Just die.
The thing that sucks too though is I feel bad for everyone that was coming by late. Yeah. And part of me was like, well, you should have been paying attention to like why should you even have to do that? So it's like part of me is like, there is some thrill in like being able to hunt down a console and get it at the launch, but I can also because there were some parents and things that came out and probably aren't plugged into Reddit and have Wario 64's Twitter account. Like, why would they think some random Twitter account's gonna have all the deets?
I mean, what you got to do is you got to pay attention to the video game console pre-order meta and get good. Has playing Return of the Jedi on SNES taught you nothing?
Oh no! Why would you bring up that trauma?
Like Aladdin King or Aladdin?
Aladdin King.
It's it's nuts.
The memories have combined.
I know that. I'm sure for everybody who played that game, it's like that. Just hearing that little audio clip just brings back the memories. He's like, I'm just trying to get past level 1. I'm just trying to get past level 1.
You just hear like a clip from it, and you're all of a sudden just angry.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, I still need to pull up that NES Batman game that has the weird wall jump at the end that you never use. Like you never use it throughout the game. Apparently, it's been a tool that you could use the entire time, but it presents itself as a way until this like last level. And I always died on it. And someone had a video where they were having the same frustration, and then their light bulb went off because he accidentally did it. And he's like, "Wait, what?" It's like, "What? That's how you get past this thing?" And apparently, some people did know and find it out, but it was back in the early '90s, and the internet wasn't a place to spread info.
You know what it is? It's because back in the day, if you bought a game used or you got it from somebody, like back then it was like they would put anything that they couldn't fit in the game went into the manual. So it was like if you bought the game and you didn't have the manual that tells you here's all the things that you can do, then that rarely used game mechanic that how am I supposed to know this? That's the thing that you need to beat some part of the game and you're just stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Have I ever? Yeah, I mean, because NES has passed my, so there's never been and even my SNES games growing up, I never had any boxes with them. Like it's always getting them. It's always getting. No, because it was like right as the time I was getting into gaming, I was getting. My parents gave me Game Boy, like my first gaming console, or not console, but like game experience was on like Game Boys. My brother had his NES, he had his SNES, so like yeah, he had stuff, but he didn't keep up with it, and that definitely not the way I collect stuff now. So by the time like I get my first console, it's an N64, and then PlayStation, and like then so from then on, I was keeping track of all my, and I lost N64 boxes, which.
Ooh.
I wish I could go
I have
back.
a bunch of old SNES games, and it was like that was like the norm. And I think it was because of the SNES games and the games of that era where like box art, people cared what the box art looked like, and you cared about like putting a whole bunch of artwork and cool stuff in the manuals. That it gave me like a huge appreciation for it. And then you started to see that taper off around like the Xbox 360 and the PS3 era, where like manuals, hell you need a manual for? Just play the damn game.
And I think they assume you're just going to look up online to figure all this stuff out now, which
there's like an online manual now, actually.
Yeah.
So like games will come with like a web link, and you're supposed to go online and look at the manual.
Yeah, but that's cool, but like that stuff is like temporary. Because it's like, eventually the website's going to go down, like the company's going to get bought by EA or whatever, and then they get squashed.
No.
So that stuff
accurate.
goes away. The like physical like manual Daniel in your hand, like nothing beats that.
Speaking of which, okay, so you probably don't care. This is SOCOM confrontation. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just, I realized there was PS3 gaps that I had that I wanted to that stack is getting ridiculous. I'll take pictures when the shelving gets in here, so it's not just a cacophony of mess on the floor. But anyway, I was like, oh, there's another, like I had SOCOM 4 on my PS3, but I hadn't had that one. So I'm like, oh, did I miss one? Okay, I'm gonna grab that. I, put it in. Load it up on the PS3. Failed to check the back of the box to see that it was a online only. And an online only game on a PS3 is useless. I don't know if you all know that, but that's garbage. It's that I paid $7.50 for there's no campaign because it's all, if there was, it's probably all online. And I almost want to take it back to the store and be like, one, did you pay for this? And then two, why are you still selling this? I'm just gonna keep flopping this in front. Like, why?
Why would you do this?
they're just like laughing at you at the store's like, he doesn't know. Yeah, man, I'll sell you that game. $7.50.
So I guess I'll keep it as a memento, maybe. But
now you got the box art though.
That's true.
It might be more valuable for me to just use it on another one of these loose PS3 games I got. It's like, But,
just like take the actual box art package out and like put like a paper in there and just draw a picture on it for the loose game.
Like PS5 for sale on eBay. It's a picture of that
or
happened.
If you ever get a case that breaks, you got to replace it. There you go.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh man. Oh wow. We got off the rails. All right,
that's
folks.
Okay.
That's basically been we've been goofing off a little bit here at the end, but yeah, it's been our show. And as always, this is every Monday at 8 p.m. Central. So you figure out your time zone and add, subtract from there. And definitely glad to have Steve joining us as part of the team. So this is not going to be like some of the other folks that have come in that guest spot. Like Steve's part of the team. Steve would be writing stuff on a variety of games for the website, just right alongside of Jerry. So they're going to be gaming, tag teaming, boom, 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 boom. It's going to be good.
They got some cool stuff coming down the pipe. For those who like indie stuff, since quarantine hit, I've been playing substantially more video games, living the life that 10-year-old me always wanted to live, but adult me had to sustain himself with food. But I have plenty of time, so I got some cool stuff coming for folks who play Deep Rock Galactic. That there's a review coming for that coming, and Harvest Moon fans, there's a review coming for you guys. for the Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Life or Friends of Mineral Town, which is the new updated game for Steam and probably some other, and I think Switch as well.
Very nice.
Cool.
Sweet. Yeah, so we're looking for those. If the words, yeah, you're looking. If you follow the Facebook page, you'll get updates on that when they drop. So pay attention. Pay attention. If you didn't like the page, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Go like it.
This is easy. I even put it on the Twitch, so you can do. It's easy. If you're listening to us on YouTube, this is easy. Just grab it. Just click it. Hit it. Slap it.
Must be gonna find you.
You're on our
Find
Twitch.
you.
Press that follow
We gon'
button.
Find you.
Oh no!
Oh,
You went too far.
Coming for your window.
giving me meme flashbacks here.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Let's see. We got other things coming up. So we talked about our monthly movie monthly movie club. We're probably going to be doing 2 in October. So we might be doing just because our Patreon users get to pick the movie, so they'll get first crack at like what we get to watch. But since we got a bunch of horror fans that joined us on the stream this past Saturday, we might be doing a horror marathon because Halloween is on a Saturday. It's on a Saturday this year, so it's kind of a perfect day to like, hey, we're gonna start some horror movies in the morning and go until late that night. So we'll let you know when that happens and keep you in the loop for that.
And Halloween parties are bad juju this year, so hang out with us and party online.
Yes, that's exactly
The
right.
ultimate Halloween experience. Get together to hang out with your friends and then turn into a ghost.
Oh, snap.
Whoa!
It got dark.
We also promise we will not judge how much candy you eat.
How many candies?
How many Halloween?
A whole candy.
Put a whole candy.
A whole candy.
A whole candy. And then lastly, you can join me and Tom DeGrow this week. So if you, for the Commandership show on Wednesdays, same time as the show, 8 p.m. Central, our 2 guests from this past weekend, Oliver White and Vartan Kakchatarov, they came and talked to us about Prometheus, gave their thoughts on it. So this Wednesday, it could just be us talking the, things we liked about it, or it might turn into a bit of a debate. So it remains to be seen. So
It will be hilarious.
Yes, regardless, it's going to be hilarious. I'm looking forward to it. So if you got to if you're at the watch party with us, come join us for the Prometheus podcast or topic podcast for this week's Commandership show. So yeah, and we got some other movie news to go through because some things have happened as well. Yeah, we'll get to that. All right, that's it, folks. You know what to do. Hit the buttons and all that. We'll see you next time. We'll see you next week. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.